Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're taking on a monster of a topic: how to take that overwhelming, non-stop avalanche of feature requests and actually transform it into a workable roadmap, one that keeps your product afloat instead of dragging it under. We're drawing our insights from the Mastering Prioritization Guide. Because let's be honest, figuring out what to build and exactly when to build it is literally the single biggest challenge product teams face. We're going to break down how you can ditch those messy spreadsheets, stop relying on pure guesswork, and start building products your users absolutely crave. You know, Steve Jobs hit the nail on the head here. People think focus is about saying yes. No way. It's about saying no to 100 other really, really good ideas. So we've got to normalize the pain of product management right off the bat. Saying no, that is your actual superpower. Prioritization isn't just some one-and-done checkbox. It's a continuous, totally ruthless process. If you don't do it, you risk sinking fast. Just look at Kodak. They literally invented the first digital camera, but they decided to stick to film. They failed to prioritize innovation, and, well, we all know how that turned out.
Here is our agenda for today. 1. The danger of gut feelings. 2. Sourcing reliable market insights. 3. Powerful prioritization frameworks. 4. Avoiding common prioritization pitfalls. And finally, 5. Visualizing success with roadmaps. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The danger of gut feelings. So the Goliath of all questions for us is always, how do we actually know we're building the right thing? I mean, making decisions based on a manager's gut feeling or some wildly misinterpreted KPIs, that is not going to delight your users. And it's definitely not going to help your bottom line. To put this in perspective, a whopping 49% of product managers, basically half of us, say that setting priorities based on market feedback is their absolute biggest challenge. Why is it so incredibly hard? Well, it's information overload. Users are so bombarded by feedback requests these days that they just tune them out. And meanwhile, internal managers are fiercely pushing for their own pet projects. It just creates this crazy riptide of biased data and total misinformation.
Section 2. Sourcing reliable market insights.
Okay, to fix this whole guesswork problem, you've got to gather objective insights to validate your ideas first. You have to do this before you even touch a prioritization framework. Because if you're not screening your users' needs properly, your competitors absolutely will. You've got to look at both internal and external channels to get the full picture. Externally, things like customer feedback, polls, usability testing, those are pure gold. No one knows your product better than the people actually using it. Internally, you need to sync up with your app analytics, your sales team, and your support staff. But hey, quick reality check here. The sales team, they might just be the loudest voice in the room. They're usually focused on short-term wins and closing massive accounts. So you have to be careful and make sure their requests will actually deliver value to the vast majority of your customers, not just one loud, high-paying bidder. Section 3. Powerful prioritization frameworks. All right, now that you're armed with solid market insights, it's time to pull out the magic swords. We're talking about structured frameworks, starting with the value versus effort matrix. This is how you take all the heated emotion right out of the boardroom. It's a super intuitive way to figure out what aligns with your vision and how to stretch your limited resources. By mapping things out with business and user value on the y-axis and effort on the x-axis, it's like a giant puzzle instantly solving itself. You can immediately see the easy, high-impact quick wins right alongside those brutal, resource-draining time sinks. This is an absolute game changer when your team is strapped for time and you need maximum impact fast.
Next up, we have our mathematical truth serum, the RICE model, originally introduced by Intercom. RICE stands for Reach, Impact, Confidence, and Effort. It gives you a clean, standardized score that just obliterates personal bias. You multiply the number of users a feature will reach by its impact by your confidence in that data. Then you divide the whole shebang by the team effort required. It forces everyone to quantify exactly why a feature matters before anyone writes a single line of code.
Then there's the Kano Model. This one is all about user delight. It focuses heavily on how likely a feature is to truly satisfy your users. Just imagine the very first time someone used Apple Pay on their phone. That sudden, whoa, this is cool rush of excitement. That's what we call an attractive feature. It's a delighter. But here is the catch. User expectations are constantly evolving. What is a mind-blowing delighter today will just be a basic, absolutely expected feature tomorrow.
Finally, we bring in the ruthless bouncer of the framework world, the Moscow method.
This is absolutely essential for getting all your stakeholders on exactly the same page before a launch. It forces you to categorize everything. You start at the top with your must-haves, the literal non-negotiables where if you don't have them, the release fails. Then you step all the way down to the won't-haves, which are things totally out of scope for now. It's strict, but it's the best way to define your boundaries and fiercely protect your team's precious time.
Section 4. Avoiding common prioritization pitfalls.
Now, even with all these amazing frameworks in your back pocket, you still have to deal with the messy reality of office politics. Prioritizing is one thing, but how do you actually defend your roadmap when a senior exec storms in and demands you build their personal pet feature right this second? Seriously, how do you say no to that overpowering voice? Enter your ultimate anti-hero, the HIPPO. That stands for the highest paid person's opinion. It happens all the time. Teams just default to gut decisions to keep the boss happy, but it causes so much harm in the long run. Jeff Bezos actually has a great rule of thumb for this. He says customer feedback flattens corporate hierarchies. When you have systematic scoring and totally objective market data on your side, you can respectfully push back. Trust me, it is way harder for your boss to argue against a priority list when it's bulletproofed by hard data and actual user feedback.
You've also got a few other classic traps to dodge. First, do not build just for the highest bidder. That throws your whole long-term strategy right out the window. Second, don't build in a vacuum. You absolutely need external customer validation. Third, keep a razor-sharp eye on cross-team dependencies. Your big, ambitious launch date means nothing if another department misses their deadline. And finally, don't just strive to be a Me Too product. Sure, keeping tabs on your competitors is fine, but you have to bring your own unique value to the table.
Section 5. Visualizing success with roadmaps. All right, we've done the hard work. Now it's time to translate all of that ruthless prioritization into your ultimate visual treasure, the product roadmap. This is your single source of truth for where the product is going. But here's the trick. The detail has to perfectly match the audience. If you're talking to C-level executives, they usually need a zoomed-out, time-based roadmap. We're talking strict dates, major milestones, hard deadlines. But if you're presenting to your agile development team, they need a progress-based roadmap. Think flexible lanes like to do, in progress, and done. Developers thrive on that flexibility, while execs need the calendar view. You just have to know your audience.
We have covered a ton of ground today, haven't we? From digging up objective market feedback, to wielding powerful tools like Rice and Moscow, all the way to neutralizing the dreaded hippo effect in the boardroom. So, as you stare down your own endless backlog today, I want to leave you with this. Which of these frameworks are you going to deploy to grab the wheel, cut through all that noise, and steer your product away from the icebergs?